which is a review of what kind of triangles? Special triangles. There are 30, 60, 90, and the 45, 45, 90. Okay, so if I give you the long leg, which is what I did on this first one, we divide by the square root of 3 for the short leg. So did you get 3 root 3? And then you double that to get the hypotenuse, which is 6 roots of 3. Okay, this is a 45, 45, 90. So I would take the hypotenuse, which is the side I was given, divide by the square root of 2, so both of the legs are 5 root 2. Okay, this is a poorly drawn trapezoid, but what I would need to do is drop down some perpendiculars so that I create a 30, 60, 90 right triangle over here and a 45, 45, 90 on the other side. So this is my 30, 60, 90. If the hypotenuse is 6, then the short leg is 3, and the long leg is 3 roots of 3.
I hate to interrupt. Can you just scroll up a tad bit?
If the top is 12, the bottom is also 12. If this altitude is 3, then what is this one? 3. If this leg of the 45, 45, 90 is 3, then the other leg is 3, and the hypotenuse is 3 roots of 2. So to do the perimeter, you would just add up all the sides. There we go. And to do the area, you could have done it 2 ways. You could have used the area formula for a trapezoid, 1/2 the height times the sum of the bases, and done it that way. Or you could have found the area of the 30, 60, 90, the area of the rectangle, and the area of the 45, 45, 90, and found the sum of all 3 of those. Whoops. Either way, you get the same thing.
So on a trapezoid, the bottom and top are always parallel?
On a trapezoid,
Okay.
the bases are always parallel.
That wouldn't help. I didn't realize that.
All right, any questions about number 3? Okay, here's the answer to your homework. The answers to your homework. So check your homework.
I didn't simplify it.
While I'm walking around giving you today's notes, check your homework.
Thank you. You're a good person.
You would always want to simplify your fractions. I mean, it wouldn't be counted completely wrong, but if we don't simplify our fractions, maybe like a half a point. Depends on how many points the problem's worth. All right, please make sure you have checked your work. That's how you decide if you understand or not.
Well, I do understand. It makes sense.
Excellent. All right, at the bottom here, I revisited this fact. On number 7, it says, what do you notice? Well, we talked about this yesterday, so hopefully you noticed that sine of A and cosine of V are equivalent, and that sine of B and cosine of A are equivalent. Because sine of an angle is equal to cosine of its complement, 90 minus that. So if I gave you sine of 20, that's equal to cosine of what?
70.
70. Its complement. Cosine of 5 is the same as sine of 85. Its complement. Does that make sense? All right. Silence means yes.
Yes.
You weren't just, okay,
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Is there anybody that needed a moment more?
Oh.
I don't want to go too fast.
Ryan's massaging his eraser.
I've got like
It's kind of funny.
You're running your driveway. Yes, you're running away. Because you need an axe.
And a nice scarf.
I don't know why you care. Straight to the face from water from
That would be a good one for Relay for Life. My mom's doing it this year.
Sorry, I did not. I'm not sorry.
She's a breast cancer spider.
I'm sorry I walked at you. Because you probably That's kind of what I felt like.
Okay, how are we doing?
Very good.
Doing well? All right, let's move on then. Okay, so yesterday I gave you the plan. This was the plan. Yesterday we learned how to set up the problems.
Today we learned
And then
how to solve.
today I said we'd learn how to solve, and tomorrow we'll learn why it matters, how to use it, what it applies to. Okay? So today is a solve it day. Before we jump into solving, when I printed this, I failed to put the right angle in here. It's critical. We have to start with a right triangle to be able to use right triangle trig. So please add the right angle symbol in there, because if you look, what I did was I edited an old worksheet and tried to give you more space to show your work. There's the right angle there. I don't know where it went. It disappeared. Okay. The other thing I want to do is take care of a little business about how to name a triangle. We can name the sides of a triangle two ways. We could call this side AC, or we could call it side B. Sides can be named with lowercase letters that are opposite their angle. So opposite angle B is side B. Opposite angle A is side A. Opposite angle C is side C. And that's just something we need to know, because I could ask it two ways. I could say find A. So lowercase a there refers to this side, or I could say find the measure of CB or BC. So there's several different ways you can name a side, but one of them is the side across from an angle could be named with the lowercase of that angle. Are we good? So if I gave you this one, triangle X, Y, Z. What is this side? X. What is this side?
Z.
Z. What is this side? Y. Okay, good. All right. Now, let's learn how to solve now. This is the only information we're given. We're going to use this right triangle labeled this way for each of these problems. In number 1, we're told that the measure of angle A is 20 degrees and that side C is 32. That is enough information to find every missing side and every missing angle. But this one just asks us to find side A. So let's sketch it. All right, they gave us the measure of angle A as 20 degrees, so that's what I'll put, 20 degrees. And they gave us that side C is 32. And they asked us to find the side A. So the first thing you always do is sketch the picture. Okay. Then I need you to think about what we did yesterday. What we did yesterday was we learned how to label the sides of a triangle given an angle. Well, here we're given this angle. So A would represent which side? The opposite. And 32 would represent which side? The hypotenuse. Now I want us to go back and think about our mnemonic. SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. All right, SOHCAHTOA. And I said it might be helpful to write it on your homework until you know it. So let's take a look at the two sides we have labeled here. We're looking for the opposite. We were given the hypotenuse. Which trig ratio involves the hypotenuse and the opposite side? Sine. Close one. Good save. Sine. So that is the trig ratio I'm going to use here. Sine of, well, this time they gave us the angle measure. Sine of 20 degrees.
Can we also use cosine now?
No.
No, I spelled my
is equal to the opposite side, which is A, over the hypotenuse, which is 32. Okay, the real answer to your question, Michael, is yes, we could use cosine, but we wouldn't use the 20 in that case. We would have to use 70. Okay. Now we need to solve this equation because I have a simple equation with only one unknown. And I need to solve for that variable. So what we're going to use now is our calculators. You want to go ahead and multiply? Okay.
You can just multiply.
Multiply by
32.
the 32. So my answer is going to be 32 times sine of 20 degrees. And on a standardized test, like your end of course test that you'll take next year, this would be the answer.
Oh, good.
That's the exact answer. But what we're going to do right now is we're actually going to find an approximation for that. And we'll need our calculators to do that, or your phone, or your, iPod. They all do it. There's a sine, cosine, and tangent button on your calculator. We played with them the other day. The first thing you have to do is make sure that the calculator you are using is in degree mode, because we're working with degrees. There are other ways to measure angles, like radians or gradients. But we're working with degrees. So first, hit the mode button and make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Especially if it's a calculator off the wall that I would share with another class, and they might actually be in radian mode, then you always want to check.
But
So,
typically they'll always be in degree mode.
no.
For us.
Okay, if you have your own personal calculator and you put it in degree mode, it will be.
Okay.
But soon we will learn, not this year, but soon you'll learn about radians.
What does that have to do?
A radian is another way to measure an angle.
So is it like number?
Just like we can measure temperature in degrees Celsius or
Like in
Kelvin.
Fahrenheit or Kelvin.
That sounds
We have
like
different ways of measurement.
So what?
We also have different ways of measuring angles, just like we have different ways of measuring temperature.
So it would take the value
Okay.
of the waves.
We can't talk about the rest of that right now. We have to finish today's lesson. All right, so I'd like you to punch into your calculator 32 times the sine of 20. And if you got out 10.9 approximately, then your calculator is in the correct mode.
I feel
We are starting to learn trig.
that's what I thought.
Baby steps.
Took the ACT.
We're getting there.
I was ACT,
Yes.
completely on
This
the-
is on the ACT,
which I have to take, so.
SAT, end of course test. Not this year, but next year. Yeah. And it's very helpful. All right. Now, if angle A is 49 degrees and side A is 17, find side B. New problem means new sketch. Draw a picture. Label angle A, this time is 49. Label side A, 17. We're looking for side B. Side B would be over here. Okay, now, in your head, every time you're asking yourself the question that I'm about to say out loud, which two sides am I looking at? Opposite and adjacent with respect to that angle. Then the second question, which trig ratio involves those two sides? Tangent. So tangent of 49 is equal to the opposite side, 17, over the adjacent side, B. All right, I have a simple equation once again. But this time the variable I'm solving for is in the denominator. Not a big deal. I just have to get it out of the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by that B. So I get B times tangent of 49 equals 17. So what would I do to solve for B? Divide by it. Undo that times by division. So 17 divided by tangent of 49. That is the exact answer. Now let's approximate the length of B.
Hold on, I just lost myself. When we divided by
tangent of 49 equals 17.
So really easy.
when we divided by B,
Yeah.
how did they just flip flop?
No, we multiplied.
All right. So let me show every step. So this turned into B times tangent of 49 is equal to 17. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Now, to undo multiplication, because I'm solving for B, I want it by itself. What would I use to undo multiplication? Division.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
So, do we now see where B equals 17 divided by tan of 49 came from?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so this is the exact answer. What is the approximate answer? Punch it in. What is 17 divided by the tangent of 49? Did you get 14.8?
I got 7.
14.78.
5 or more.
14.78, so that would round to...
7.
You remember that? What? 5 raise the score.
What are-
1.
Okay. The last one that we're going to do together is number 5. So here we go again. I'm skipping to 5. Yep, there's a reason. Okay, so this time they give me side A is 28, but they give me angle B. So I'm looking from a different angle, and they ask me for side C. So with respect to the angle that was given, 28 is which side? The adjacent. And C is which side? Okay. Ask yourself the second question. Which trig ratio involves the hypotenuse and the adjacent side? Cosine. Cosine. So cosine of 41 is equal to adjacent, which is 28, over a hypotenuse, which is C. And then we solve. Please solve.
You did.
Boom. Boom diggy bomb.
Okay, when you're ready, check your answer, and then I'd like you to try number 3 and number 6, please. You try 3 and 6. After you've gotten the correct answer for number 5, try 3 and 6. Now, if you're struggling, this is your time to ask for help. Not even struggling. If there's any one little thing that doesn't make sense, just even one little thing, please stop me.
Always come.
Wait, how do we know which is C?
Big triangle top right. That's like the
It's possible, but you probably can't. Probably not gonna do that.
Oh, I accidentally. I meant to do sign, but I accidentally typed in cosine.
Can we do the dance that you were talking about?
Yes.
I want to do that now.
It looks a lot like Walk Like an Egyptian.
Volunteering my religion can allow me to invoke spirits.
Yes.
It's really sad. It's really
So you're just doing 3 and 6.
7, I kind of like 7, 26.
I grind the answer 15.3.
This is fun.
No, it's funny because it's like I'm ruining a TV show for you. I hate it when people read books. I hate it when it happens. You spend days to read.
People don't read.
You spend days reading it.
Hold on, let me see who that is.
See, I read books people don't read. Called Blind Man's Blind.
It's broken.
Guys, yeah.
No, which was about
Hand check
submarine
it.
warfare in the Cold
It's
War.
working.
Because I tried
It's
to
on.
Right?
It's,
I
He
read.
dies in
you
the end.
have to leave
He
it
does.
just right. Hold it just right. Ringer's on.
She also.
It's on.
I read.
Everything's on.
I read Apollo 13.
Do you enjoy
Yeah,
the walk?
they
Run
got
into
read,
the nearest
um,
town, is that what she said?
They got in the end.
No,
Alright.
it's about June
She
30th.
said run
I need to turn a work order in for my phone because they keep coming to tell me it
to
doesn't
the
work.
nearest town for a minute, but
Today let's just do 10, but make sure you read the directions on whatever assignment you're given. If no directions are given, just ask. Okay, work order.
You are. You are. That's basically. That's what you're doing.
Mrs. Willoughby, whenever I told Brian the answer to a problem,
They just said guidance, right?
whenever I tell the answer to a problem Brian's working on, it's like he acts like I ruined a TV show or a book for him.
You ruined the ending.
Yeah.
I completely understand. I would feel the same
I
way.
found it because it was kind of funny.
Alex, on your way out, just make sure you shut that door back.
I'm really tempted, but I can't because
They gave us
you're going like that's not a very good goal. You know that?
It's like a life.
Yeah, it is.
One of my main, one of my hidden insights and goals.
This side is
I'm like a prison now. Call my street like, get my detention. Yeah.
You're not going to be there. Then again,
I really don't want to. I don't want to get.
they're up there. Good?
just so every time.
I got 64.2.
Your calculator's
What we
been.
supposed to do number 4?
No. You're using the government calculator. You're going to okay, I'm not going to screw this up like the last guy from doing Like I'm not going to screw it up like Arnold did 3 years later. Brian, why do you have 3 children you made? Shut up.
Okay, answers are up on the overhead, so take a look. And if you're not sure what happened, if you didn't get the right answer, let me know. I will be happy to help.
People, my psychiatric said after she was done, Charlie, she was like, like, no, I'm not done. I was like, oh no, I mean like the money and the success kind of thing. She responded with, just because he gulped and forgot his face, like horse. That's my English teacher for you.
I had Tom says in Boston, Mrs. Thompson, I'm not invited to the wedding. I don't think any of us are. She hates us all. No, I hate her. She likes us. Oh, we were supposed to be meeting a bunch of stuff too. One of her other English teachers, one of the other English teachers from Miss Thompson's Urbana. And she had a book of her. And I moved this. How was the Panther?
Middle school?
When we're gonna play, you just asked, right?
I did ask.
Now you have to try out.
I'm gonna ask. I can't do that though. I can only do it for basketball. My goal next year is to start a basketball cup. Can we just do it? Let me have a pep band.
I would put that down the hole.
Don't you think we should have a pep band
I
basketball
got
games
all the
this fall?
answers right.
never tried. I once had my I put it on. Okay,
All right.
Put it on.
You kidding me?
Okay, I have all the answers up here, so if you'd like more practice, you can try number 4, and this will be on my website, okay? I post my notes every day. It's still there. All right, now, I want to skip 7, 8, and 9. We may use some of those for warm-ups later on. And I want to move to number 10. So let's all take a look at number 10 together now. This says to solve the triangle. When it says to solve the triangle, that means to find all the missing sides and all the missing angles. So when it says to solve the triangle, you're looking for everything that's not already given to you. So when I draw the picture, and I'm still sticking with the same ABC that we used up above, and I'm going to label the stuff.
If it doesn't give you any of the angle measurements.
Well, you know.
Oh, you have the 90. Okay.
Well, he could have brought it.
Long time no see.
I know, that was really quick.
Miss Wolfie, could you do this problem if it gave you just the hypotenuse and another problem? Because
Let me show you how to work this one, and then maybe this might answer your question. Okay, so I'm going to label A 4 and label B 7. Oh, I didn't draw it to scale, but who cares? It's labeled correctly. No, you don't. All right, now the hypotenuse is easy to find. It's Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So what is 7 squared?
49.
Plus 4 squared.
16.
49 plus 16 is 65. And the square root of 65 does not simplify. So it's quite simple to find the exact length of a third side of a right triangle when you're given 2. Now, to find the angles. Which one would you like to find? A or B? A. A for Anna.
What about Lex?
What? I have an Anna and she's Anna.
No, just for Anna.
Tomorrow it'll be A for Alexa. All right. So we're going to set this up with regards to A because we picked A. You get to pick. So I'm going to label my sides with regard to angle A. 4 is the opposite. 7 is the adjacent. Now, I'm not going to choose hypotenuse because what if I added incorrectly? Would I want to use this number? No. So you never choose the one that you just found because if, you accidentally added wrong and you use this number to find the angle, what would happen to the angle? It would be wrong. We would have a compounding error. I'd have to mark it wrong here and there and there. So we're never going to use the one that you found. Always use the 2 you were given. So let's look at this. Which trig ratio involves the opposite side and the adjacent side? Tangent. TOA. So we're going to do tangent of angle A, because we picked it, is a ratio of 7 over 4.
Yeah, before you said it back.
Oh, it is 4 over 7. My voice said it wrong. My hand got it right.
Your hand is smarter.
It is. It really is. There's a disconnect somewhere in my brain between my brain and what comes out my mouth. I hate that. It's not good. All right. Now, just like we have inverse operations, like the opposite of a subtraction undoes addition. It's the inverse operation. Division undoes multiplication. We also have inverses of some functions we can use. And the inverse of tangent is inverse tan. Back in the day, we called it arctan. So if you Google this, you might see it written as, I got it over here on the board, tan
Is that the tan negative one?
to the little -1. the inverse of tangent.
Oh, that's what that
Or arctan means the same thing, the inverse of tangent. So if you see either of those, we're using the inverse. So on your calculator, if you are currently using my class set, if you punch the tangent button twice, you get inverse tangent. If you have your own, if you do the second button and tangent,
Oh, I see now.
okay? If you're at home doing your homework and you have neither, but you might have a smartphone or you take your parents, if you turn the calculator on and you turn it sideways, because you already know this, you get a lot more functions out of it. And you see sine, cosine, tangent. If you hit the second button and one of those, it's inverse. If you don't have a smartphone and you don't have a calculator, but you do have a computer, you can go into the calculator on the computer, or you can Google trig calculator, and lots of options will pop up. Okay, so we have lots of ways we can do our homework, even if we don't have a calculator. But I do believe that most of you are headed to college one day, and eventually you're probably going to need your own calculator, so it wouldn't hurt to invest in one, if you have that option. All right, so when we punch this in, what did you guys get for the measure of angle A? 29.7.
Now, Ms. Willoughby, do you only do that when it's a fraction?
You only use inverse when you're looking for the angle measure.
Oh.
All right, now, we could actually set the same thing up for B. We could say tangent of B is equal to, it's going to switch the opposite and adjacent, isn't it? So it becomes 7 over 4. And then do inverse tan of 7/4 would give us B is approximately 60.3. Now, was this required? No, because what do I know about A and B? If they're the acute angles of a right triangle, they are complementary, correct? So all I had to do was 90 minus this, and you see I get the exact same thing I got when I solved the equation. Okay, I would like you to try number 12 now. Number 12. What my student meant by that growl was they're excited to work one more math problem.
you telling me recording
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Sorry. I just get really excited.
It's copying. Brian's copying. What? Brian copying.
Okay, if you're watching this lesson online, look at the notes to find the answers to the last solution.